Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Brighton boys basketball coach Mike Griest. Mike, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Case?
Doing well. So another season of Brighton basketball is upon us. Of course, you got at time of recording, we are recording this on the upcoming media day, which will be tonight at Northville. And then, of course, the season for you guys does not start until next Monday when Redford Thurston comes to town. So let's talk, I know that obviously you have to replace a lot of guys from last year, and what's that been like? Just kind of getting used to a lot of the guys that are going to be in a lot of spots they haven't really been in.
Well, one thing we've noticed is, there's a lot of reteaching of things that, for the last couple of years we've been pretty steady on with guys returning. The roles are different this year. We're kind of trying to figure out who fits in what role. Last year with the guys, we had Eddie and Ashton that were going to primarily be our scorers. Ben Anderson, would guard the post players and get our low post presence. So it is a little different, but it's kind of refreshing and exciting too. I miss those guys, but you always move on, and it's good to see some of our guys trying to fit in a role that's going to work for the team. One thing I talked to our team about, and they've mentioned it to me too, says we're going to have a lot of different guys scoring. And that could be an advantage because you can't really key in on a guy. Now, are we going to be able to score like we did last year? We're hoping so, but it'll come from different directions. And like I said, more weapons are going to have to score for us.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about some of those guys that'll be some of the guys to watch this year, and some of the guys that are going to be returning and expected to be in some bigger roles.
Well, Trevor View's back. He's our lone starter back, and so he's going to obviously have a big role. He'll be on the scouting report to start the year of everybody, so it's a little added pressure on him. But he's really had a really good off season. Spent a lot of time in the weight room, getting stronger. Obviously, working on skills. So we're going to rely on him to kind of run the ship for us. He's our experienced guy. Being our point type guy. He's a good scorer. He can score inside. He can shoot the three real well. So he'll be a main focus point for us in offense. But, we have some other guys that are really capable. Grant Heatherton, very good three-point shooter, really good athlete, big, strong, and fast. So he'll be able to get some scoring for us. We have some post players this year that we will look to score. Vince Salmon is a junior. Cole Rooney is a junior. And they're going to be our primary inside presence. And they've been working really hard, and our guys are starting to trust. You have to build that guard post trust relationship, and they are starting to trust both those guys to throw it in and let them go to work and be available when they kick it out. Mitch Rosinski played a lot of minutes for us last year. Real good defender, maybe our best overall athlete as far as speed and quickness. He's going to be asked to guard some of the other best players. Lucas Stamper, kind of a multi-tool guy. He can play inside, he can play outside. He has some experience for us as well from last year. So, those are the main guys we're looking at. We have some sophomores we're looking at. Brandon Lovejoy is hurt right now, but he had a real good summer with us. Another guard, a good shooting guard. Ben Kokab, a senior coming back, was injured last year most of the year, but he's made a lot of good progress. So we have multiple guys that we think are going to help. Our rotation could end up being fairly large.
Yeah. Okay, so going into when you look at what the division's going to look like, it seems like everyone's kind of lost something with among the 8 teams this year. But obviously it's going to be another one of those years. And obviously, if you've watched any of the other interviews with the other coaches in the league, and it's kind of seeming like there's not really a clear cut favorite in the West.
Yeah, I believe Howell and Canton, Howell has a lot of guys coming back, and Canton has some solid players coming back too. I would think that they would be near the top.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be real competitive. There is, like you said, there's not one standout team at this point anyways. We'll see how the season progresses. Like every year, it seems like every game is a battle in our division. Seems like similar on the west side or east side also.
Yeah.
So it'll be curious how it all shakes out. I think a lot of young teams, young players, again, the roles will be developed as the season goes on. I know we have 5 or 6 games before we even start our conference, so we're going to learn a lot about ourselves next month. And I know so some of the other teams.
Now let's talk about those, the non-conference schedules I mentioned. Of course, Redford Thurston's coming into town. Traverse City Central, I believe, is coming into town as well. And of course, the KLAA OAA crossover game with Clarkston. What are obviously some of those games? What else do you got in store for these for non-conference?
Well, we have Fenton. We have Schwartz Creek on January 2nd.
Yep.
So again, another two more tough non-conference. And, I like it. It's a lot of different teams. It's been a long time since we played Redford Thurston. I believe we only played Clarkston maybe one time. Schwartz Creek, we did play last year. I got to see them a little bit of the scrimmage. They're going to be tough. Fenton, I hear, has 3 really good players back. They're going to be tough.
Fenton also has a new coach too.
Yes. So we really don't know what they're going to be like as far as their philosophies. So, I know
be in the district too.
Yes. So a little pre-district test there. I know the kids like playing different, teams. It's see different styles. Because once you get into our conference, you kind of know everybody. Everybody knows you. So I'm looking forward to the non-conference. It's going to be tough, but we're going to learn from it, grow from it every game.
Yeah. So of course, obviously obviously there are also some changes to your staff as well. So obviously some faces that you'll recognize. Kind of take me through, introduce your staff for this year.
Well, my varsity assistant's Darren Armstrong. We've been together 15 years. His sons have all gone through the program, so he's just the best guy to have around. Real knowledgeable, really good teacher, real good competitor. So he's back with us. Paul Ash is back with us in a different role. He's now our JV coach with Brent Luplo, heading on Northfield to coach football, and he's brought in a longtime mentor of mine, Dan Krishner, former boys basketball coach, to be his assistant. So we've got a lot of experience at the 2 levels, varsity and the JV levels, and then a couple of new coaching faces, not new faces to us at the freshman level. Shane Armstrong, former player, I think 5 years ago, and Keenan Stoles, another former player, are heading up the freshman team. So, I love it when we're able to get young guys into the program, especially ones that have been with us before, get them to come in and, kind of continue that Bulldog tradition. They're not unfamiliar with kind of our style and our process. And yet at the same time, they bring new energy, new ideas. And I love our staff. I think it's a great staff.
Yeah. So also, let's talk about this too. You have the, of course, the big change, one of the biggest changes this year with the, been asking a lot of coaches about this. The one-on-one rule, of course, is gone. So I've gotten a lot of interesting takes on what everyone will think, what will happen with that. But what's your take on that?
Well, I always enjoyed the one-on-one. I like the pressure of having to make that first one to get the second one. I also like, being able to get to the bonus in the first quarter or the third quarter if possible. So strategically, there's some changes you'll have to think about making. When you're down in games, you're going to have to think about, maybe fouling a little earlier. So strategically, there are some differences. Players, I think it takes a little bit of pressure off of them shooting free throws, and hopefully we'll see a higher percentage of makes there. I'm not sure if I'm for it or against it right now. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, and we'll see how it affects, games down the stretch for sure.
Yeah. All right, Mike, thank you so much for the time. As always, we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Case. Looking forward to it.